सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ लम्बोदर नमस्तुभ्यं सततं मोदकप्रियं निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिविरदानमम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सरस्वतीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दुर्गारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। Valmiki does not start his Ramayana with any reverence to any particular deity. We must remember, although I say Valmiki Ramayan, this is the Ramayana. This is the original Ramayana. Ramayana means the way of Ram. So in this entire, it's a very long epic, and it is extraordinary, which is why people have never really been able to digest it. So because of this, various authors such as Tulsidas and others in different parts of India took Valmiki Ramayan and they made it compatible for people to understand it. Valmiki didn't write his Ramayana for anybody. Tulsidas wrote his Ramayana for us. But Valmiki didn't. Valmiki did this for himself and for Narada Muni. So I will get into the first verse that Valmiki wrote after giving you a brief description of who he was. Valmiki is an equivalent to the father of history in Greece. Some people call him Herodotus. Valmiki goes back 10,000 years. That's a long time. And people don't take his words to be historic. They take his words to be a myth. In fact, today people refer to our religion as a mythology. And they don't refer to their own book as a mythology. So whenever you listen to history in schools, take it with a grain of salt. And read and research for yourself the history of your own people and the history of your own religion. And I guarantee you, you would become more confident in your life, and you would become a better person to know where you come from. If you read the Ramayana, you can see what the values were back then, from Treta Yuga. And you can imbibe those things within you and become a better person. Valmiki says in the first verse, Tapasvadhyaya niratam tapasvi vak vidambharam naradam paripapracha Valmikim munipunghavam. It's a question. And it doesn't start with Om. It doesn't start with Ganapati, which is usually the things that start anything. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. It starts with the word tapas. Tapas is austerity. Tapas is penance. The epitome of the time was tapas. Sacrifice, austerity. Now, the Valmiki Ramayan starts with the word tapas because it is full of people who participated in tapas. Even the villains performed tapas. The villains of that age would be considered to be noble saints in today's age. Ravan. Ravan stole another person's wife, but he never touched her. And he prayed for, I believe, hundreds of years to get all the blessings that he got. You must always know the history of what you do before you do it. When we perform Shiva Puja today, this is a sampradaya, this is a long tradition, an ancient tradition, one that stems even to the time of Lord Ram, when he constructed the Rameshwar Lingam and performed puja. This is not an ordinary task that we do, and sometimes we take it for granted. Just like the Sanskrit mantras that we chant, it takes thousands of lives before you can even see and hear Om. Some people will live on this planet today and not ever hear the word Om. You are very blessed to have the life that you have today, and to be able to chant the name of Ram. Lord Shiva says, Ram Ram Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranam Tatulyam Ramanam Varaname, which means nothing can be compared to the name of Ram. Chanting the name of Lord Vishnu 1,000 times cannot compare to chanting the name of Ram once. But it does not just come from saying Ram. You cannot just say Ram. It's not just the act of opening your mouth and having air come out in the form of Ram. It also has to do with your mind. Your mind is the most powerful thing that you have. It is a tool, it is a weapon, it is a peacemaker. It can do anything. I'm going to chant and recite from one part of the Valmiki Ramayan, Balkand, in which Lord Ram is with one of his gurus, Vishwamitra. So Lord Ram was born to Dasharatha, as we all know, in Kaushalya, and he went to study with his guru Vashisht for many years, and then afterwards he came back to the kingdom, and his father was so happy, and everybody was happy. You know, when you go on a long journey and you come back home after a long period of time, how happy everybody is. And then a great sage, his name is Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra is the sage that came up with the mantra, the Gayatri mantra, the most powerful mantra of all time in the entire universe. This is how powerful people used to be back then, that we're still chanting it to this day. So Vishwamitra came to the kingdom and asked Dasharatha if he could borrow his 2 golden sons to go with him to protect him while he did a yajna, because there were many people that were interfering with him. And Dasharatha said he doesn't want to, but long story short, he sent them. And now Vishwamitra takes them, and they perform the yajna successfully, and then afterwards, Lord Ram and Vishwamitra get to the banks of the Ganges, where they must cross. And they spend the night there. And then in the morning, when Lord Vishwamitra wakes up. He wakes up, they wake up at dawn, and they perform all of the things that they must do, tapas, and sandhya vandanam. And when he's doing this, Lord Ram is still asleep. So don't get mad at your children if they sleep in a little bit, because even Lord Ram did it. However, you must wake them up as lovingly as Lord Vishwamitra did. Here's what he said. Kaushalya supraja Rama purva sandhya pravartate uttishta narashardula kartavyam devamanikam. Kaushalya supraja Rama purva sandhya pravartate uttishta narashardula kartavyam devamanikam. And isn't that beautiful to be woken up to that? And then after he said that, a whole song was created in South India by another great poet in Tulsidasa's time or earlier. And he added to it and he said, Kaushalya supraja Rama purva sandhya pravartate uttishta narashardula kartavyam devamanikam. Uttishto uttishta govinda uttishta garudadvaja uttishta kamala kanta trailokyam mangalam kuru. This is Lord Ram, the noble son of Kaushalya. The sandhya of the east commences, which means the sun is rising. Arise, O lion amongst men, the daily tasks are yet to be performed. But such a beautiful way, and the Sanskrit language just gives you a lot of peace. Kaushalya suprajaram purva sandhya pravartate. It's such a beautiful language. And they're about to go take their snan, which is bath in the Ganges, and perform all the rituals that they have to do. Every single thing that we do today, back then had a ritual. So before you take a bath, you must give homage to the water itself. Before you place your feet on the ground, I don't know if anybody does that today, but when you get up and you open your eyes, you must give reverence to the three goddesses. And then after you give reverence to them, before you place your feet on Mother Earth, you must ask for forgiveness. You must sing the glories of Prithvi Mata. And you're asking her, you're saying, oh, the mantra says, oh Prithvi Mata, a consort of Lord Vishnu, and the person who wears the rivers as your garment, and the Himalayan mountains as your bosom. This Prithvi Mata is a goddess, and we treat you as a goddess. You are our mother. Oh Mother, Kshama, forgive us for placing our feet on you. This is the traditions that we come from, to respect Mother Earth. And today we all throw things on her and place things in the rivers that shouldn't be there and create chemicals that don't need to be here. This is the traditions that you come from. You should research it more. We no longer need people to sit on a singhasan and read this book. You can get this same book on Amazon. You can find the verses of it on Google or whatever search engine you want to use. You no longer need me. I'm only here to push you a little bit. Lord Ram asks a very good question to Vishwamitra. He says, Duhituhu sholarajasya joshtaya vaktumarhasi vishtram vishtragyosi divya manushasam bhavam. This is Lord Ram's words. This is exactly the words of Lord Ram in the same language that he spoke. Duhituhu sholarajasya joshtaya vaktumarhasi vishtram vishtragyosi divya manushasam bhavam. He says, the river Son, whose waters are so holy, is fordable here and adorned with sandy banks. And then he asked him, oh holy sir, shall we wade through it? Like, it's such a holy river and it looks so nice. Are we good enough to even be in it? And here's what Vishwamitra tells him. The Ganges is not a river. The Ganga is more than that. We say Ganga Snanam, Ganga Dhanam, Ganga Jnanam. The Ganges, snanam, a place to take a bath. The Ganges dhanam. Dhanam means wealth, a gift. It is a gift and it gives us gifts. Ganga dhyanam. Ganga gives us knowledge. The Ganges is more than water. It is something that is invoked within the water. He talks about Ganga Mata being a celestial goddess, the daughter of Himavan, which is the Himalayan mountains. And for various reasons, she had to take birth on earth. And there are so many different things. All of the stories are connected. There is no fault within any of the stories. They are all interweaved into one big tapestry. And when we look at the Mahabharata, it is a small piece. Ramayana is a small piece. Bhagavatam and all the Puranas are a small piece of this large tapestry. And so this is what Vishwamitra tells him. He says Ganga was a celestial being that came onto earth. And Bhagirath, he did a lot of tapas, a lot of austerities to Lord Brahma, and asked Lord Brahma, please liberate my ancestors. He never knew these people, but he wants them to be liberated because that is dharma. This is what duty is. They have given their own being and they made fruits which are their children. And we must never forget the sacrifices that they went through to make us who we are today, even though they were such a long time ago we never knew them. Now, Bhagirath did a lot of tapas, and Brahma said, okay, you've done a lot of tapas, the Ganges will come. But if Ganga comes, she will probably destroy the world because the current is so powerful. So now you have to do more tapas, and you have to find a way that it can come to earth. So then he did a lot of tapas to Lord Shiva. And of course, anybody who does tapas to Lord Shiva is never going anywhere empty-handed. And Lord Shiva opened his jata, his mali, he had locks of hair tied up on the top of his head. He opened it up and asked the Ganges to come down, and the Ganges landed on his head, and it broke the force of the current, and then it slowly started coming down and flowed through the Himalayas and made the Ganges River. And before that even, a longer time before that, Ganga originated, and Lord Vishnu came as Vamandev. And you can research this on your own, the story of Vamandev. He was a dwarf. And he became the largest being. And a king asked him what he would like as a gift. And then Vamandev said, I only want 3 steps of land. That's it. And then the king is Bali. He said, what? I am the most powerful king with an ego. I can give you anything you want, and you're going to ask me for 3 steps of land? I can give you kingdoms. Don't underestimate me. And then Vamandev said, well, if you can give me 3 footsteps of land, I think that's a lot in my book. And then he said, fine, take your 3 steps wherever you want. Vamandev grew, and this is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, grew and grew and grew until he was bigger than the cosmos itself. He took 2 steps, and then there was no place for the 3rd. Then the king bowed and said, place the last step on my head, because I have nothing else to give you. And he did. And he crushed his ego. He said, place your feet on my head and crush my ego at the same time. So this is, and as Lord Vishnu's feet, as Vamandev come up into the cosmos, Brahma sees it and takes his vessel of water and pours it onto the feet. And this is where the Ganges originate, in heaven, which is known as Mandakini. And then after flowing off of the feet of Lord Vishnu, it falls onto the head of Lord Shiva. And after falling onto the head of Lord Shiva, it flows onto earth and purifies everything. So when you think of the Ganges, this is what the Ganges is. It's not just a river of water that just flows like every other river. It is a divine place where people invoke Ganga, which is more than water. It is knowledge, it is wealth, it is everything. Om Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jhalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. Sannidhim Kuru means I invoke within this water, Ganga, Yamuna, all of the holy rivers, and they all have a history. And in this water, that goddess resides now, and now it is pure enough to be on the head of Lord Shiva. And when we drink water, we're supposed to say that. Water carries energy. There are scientists in Japan right now who are doing a lot of research with water and the memory that it holds. If you say something to the water and you freeze it and you examine it microscopically, there is a different crystallization in the water depending on what kind of energy you placed in it. So they did hate. They said hate and they froze it. And you could look this up on your own. It had a really irregular shape. But when they said love to it, it had a beautiful symmetric shape. And nice beautiful patterns like our yantras. So when you say the words Ganga, Yamuna, Sindhu, Saraswati to the water, it invokes the presence of these goddesses. And then we drink that water. And then we become purified. And our bodies are made of, I think, 70 or more than 70% water. The world is 70% water. And all of this energy is placed in it. Now that you know the power of the mantra that you say, you must say it with more vigor. The mantra cannot come out if you're just saying Ganga, Yamuna, I'm thinking of something else. You must think the Ganges which flows from Lord Vishnu's feet to Lord Shiva's head to us. This is what the Ganges is. It is Gyan, it is knowledge. That is what I'm invoking when you say that mantra. If you say to somebody, I love you, and don't mean it, it has no weight. It carries nothing. Similarly, to use that as an analogy, when you say Ganga and you're thinking of something irrelevant, that irrelevance voids what you say. So, Trayambakam yajamahe. Trayambakam, the three-eyed one, yajamahe. Sugandhim pushti vardhanam, who smells like pushti, who smells like flowers. Urva rugamiva vandanam, like a cucumber that grows on the vine that never falls off unless cut. Mrityor mukshyam amritat, cut me from the cycle of birth and rebirth, and let us not be bereft of immortality. That is what the mantra is saying. So when you're saying Trayambakam yajamahe and you're thinking about when is the Havan going to end, or what is somebody else going to say, or I hope this mantra comes out well, that is not a mantra. So next time you say it, invoke that presence of Lord Shiva. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urva rugamiva vandanam mrityur muksham amrita. I want to tell you guys a little bit about the name of Ram. Ram is 3 syllables. Ra, A, Ma. Ra refers to Ravi, the sun. A refers to Agni, which is fire. Ma refers to Soma, which is the moon. And these are the 3 origins of light in our world. This is Ram. Now let's refer back to the original mantra that I was chanting. Trayambakam yajamahe. 3-eyed Lord. What are the 3 eyes of Lord Shiva? The sun, the moon, and fire. So if the 3 eyes compose the 3 syllables of the name of Ram, what is Lord Ram? Lord Ram, and this is a hidden truth, and you can only get these truths from the horse's mouth. So you must research it for yourself. Don't take these murtis for granted and don't look at them as stone. Because the same meaning that you have in your mind for them is what you invoke in them. The same meaning when you say, I love you. Somebody who says that these are just stone, to them the word love is just a word. But to us, these are more than stone. These are our devas. These are our gods. And so the word love has more meaning to it for us as well. We see more love and richness in everything because we see everything as it truly is in reality. Sri Ram is not a regular name. It is the most powerful word in the entire cosmos. Hanuman, before doing anything, we sing the whole Hanuman Chalisa of all the things that he did. And do you know what he said before he did any of it? Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram. Then he performed what he was doing. This is the power of the name of Ram. It is part of Lord Shiva. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am the embodiment of consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. So if you are Shiva and you invoke the presence of Ram perfectly, the next part of this hidden truth is, what is it that you see? What is it that we try to see with these three eyes? Aj anadi avigat alakh akalatul avikar bando shiva pad yuga kamal amal ativa udhar aar viharan sukh karan shubh bhakti mukti dhata karo anugrah deen lakh apno virad vichar paropatit bhavakupamah सहज नरक आगार सहज सुहृद पावन पतित सहज हिले पलक पलक आशा भर्यो रहो सुभात निहार गरो तुरंत स्वभाववश लेखन करो आभार लेखन करो आभार जय शिव शंकर जय शिव शंकर निज जन को सब भार गनो अग जाति कछु सब विधि करो संभार तुमरो मंत्र स्वभाव लगी जो नर शरण तब हो तेहि समकुटिर
दीनहीन अति मलिनमति मैं अगोग कृपानल प्रगतो तुरत करो पाप सब चार कृपा सुधा बरसाय पुनि शीतल करो पवित्र राखो पद कमलनि सदा हे कुपात्र के मित्र बहन करो तुम शील वश निज जन को सब भार। बोलो श्री महादेव की जय, बोलो श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, सब संतन की जय 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 सीताराम। Let's give Pandit Ravi Chowbey a round of applause.